Hey, happy holidays, everyone. Welcome back. This time we're getting off the Brilliance of the Seas in Tampa after a 4-night cruise that left on December 15th. The stops included Key West and Nassau, and we had a really good time. The ship is about 20 years old, holds about 2,500 passengers, and it was a enjoyable time. Before we get into the details, let's go over some fun facts. As mentioned, Brilliance of the Seas has a maximum capacity of around 2,500 passengers. Number 2, Royal Caribbean is second in cruise line market share behind Carnival. And finally, Royal Caribbean is getting serious about LNG-fueled ships and introducing the Icon and Utopia in the next couple of years. Our first stop on this journey is Key West. But before we show you that content, let's take a look at our stateroom, 7652. If you've sailed on Royal Caribbean's ships in the past, especially ships between 10 and 20 years of age, you know most of their balcony staterooms are almost indistinguishable in terms of features and functionality. The Brilliance of the Seas balcony stateroom is no different. It was adequate, a little bit small, a little bit tight in some areas, but we nonetheless enjoyed this particular location. One unusual aspect of the balcony stateroom was the balcony itself. It's actually semi-private. So in many ways, you could have conversations with your neighbors to your left or to your right. And the privacy issue was not a concern for us, but it might be for other passengers. And you'll also note that there's a walkway right outside of our slider, which again is a little bit unusual on some of the Royal Caribbean ships. Didn't bother us, but again, it was something that's noted. Our first stop on the journey was Key West. Even though we've been to this part of Florida many, many times, we decided to take an excursion and a trolley tour of this area. The trolley tour actually stopped in about 15 different locations, giving us plenty of time to observe the sights and scenery of this area. We've walked the area many times as well, but in this particular case, it was guided. So we learned so much about the island that we didn't know previously, especially about some of the history. It really was a great tour. Our second stop on the journey was Nassau. The weather was great, so we decided to get off the ship, visit the Atlantis, and have some time over there, which was always enjoyable. We've been there many times. It's a great resort facility. When we came back to the ship, we noticed that there were a number of ships docked or leaving the port, which is under construction. And this video captures some of the movement of different ships as we were exiting the harbor as well. Another aspect, of course, of the Brilliance of the Seas experience is the dining options. We did spend some time in Windjammer for breakfast, which is always enjoyable. I recommend getting in there earlier in the day. If you show up at 10 o'clock or 10:15 for breakfast, sometimes the breakfast is a little bit stale. So if you get there a little bit earlier, beat the crowd, it's always recommended. We also had some time with the executive chef on Brilliance of the Seas. He was wonderful walking us through how the gingerbread house is constructed, the ingredients, the recipes, the man hours. It's quite an impressive feat. We really enjoyed the discussion, and it caught a lot of attention on Brilliance of the Seas during our journey.
Hi, welcome to main dining room. Good evening, everyone.
Main dining options on Brilliance of the Seas were always enjoyable. However, one thing you might want to be aware of is that the menu can get a little predictable. So if you want to modify a dish or change something, simply ask. Typically, they're able to accommodate your request. Well, that wraps up our journey on Brilliance of the Seas for December 15th through the 19th. We had a good time. It was a pleasant trip. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.